Hello everyone, I'm your host Moyo with Shy Chats. Today I am in front of Susan Hat, which you guessed it, is a hat shop located on the north side of Chicago on Sheridan Road in Rogers Park. Susan Hat opened March 2018, however her story doesn't begin there.
I've been living in Rogers Park for 2.5 years now.
What's pretty special about Susan Hat is that each hat is unique, and not one hat here is a duplicate. I had the opportunity to speak with Susan about all things entrepreneurship within the Rogers Park community and learn about where her creativity stems from when creating her hats.
I've always liked hats, and I like vintage hats with veils and fancy hats like people used to wear before our time. And I think I had a shrunken sweater, and I thought, what am I going to do with this shrunken sweater? And I thought it would make good hats, so I just made a couple hats for my kids or something. And I realized if you cut in the neck, like left the neck of a sweater and put it on your head, you could like cut a circle basically and make a beret. So that was the very first hat I ever made, was basically a beret out of a sweater. And then I realized the fabric itself, when you shrink a sweater, it's so malleable. It's almost like making a sculpture. And so I just let my imagination go wild. I kind of move it around, put it on these heads that I have, and because I'm interested, I get bored if I make something the same over and over, so everything is one of a kind. I just kind of let the fabric guide me. I started making the hats probably in 2009 or 10, and have just gradually been making it into a business. But I opened this shop just in March this year. 2 houses ago, I was working in a tiny little, actually 1 house ago, I was working in a tiny little room, and I loved it, but it was so small. It was probably, a fourth of this room. And I liked the atmosphere of it, and I thought, if this was a shop, it would be so cool, it would be so inviting, and I would be so happy. And I saw this space when I moved to Rogers Park, and it was occupied, but I thought, ooh, that would be a perfect hat shop. And it became available, and I could afford it. The rent is not crazy here. And I just thought, you know what, if it's a failure, it's a failure. At my age, it's like I'm not going to keep putting something off, I'm just going to try it. And if it doesn't work, at least I tried. But yeah. So far, so good. Yeah, and I think if you don't do your dream or follow your dream, it's just going to bug you. You're going to just keep saying, I wish I did that, or you're going to feel bad about yourself for not trying something. So you might as well just go for it. And then if you fail, then you can feel bad about yourself. In making, over these past several years of growing my business.
As a business owner.
Yeah. Initially, I didn't know how to price things. I would just sell them and maybe write down the name of what I sold, but I didn't take pictures. And so then later on, I would be like, whoa, what did that hat look like? And then people would, I would do sales, and people would have to ask me the price. So I started making price tags. I have a little label that I made that I put inside the hat. So bit by bit by bit, I've learned how to be more user friendly, I think, to people, and be more public with my documentation. And moving into fall and winter hats, I think, are my strongest hats. That's what I started making initially, was hats out of recycled sweaters. And so I'm hoping that as we move into colder weather, more people will come in. We'll get a hat on every head. People will buy for the holidays, I think, because I think hats make really good gifts. But I feel like I'm more part of the community than I had even imagined I would be, because a lot of people have been coming by and just giving me a thumbs up and welcoming me. So that's like a really positive thing that I have learned about being a shop owner. And then I guess, maybe something that I'm still in the process of learning is how to get more people in here from outside the area, or even if it's just more. I'm hesitant to advertise, but I know I have to eventually. But having like more something outside that draws people in. In my whole tenure as a hat maker, I've probably sold around 700 or so hats. So my goal currently is when I hit 1,000, I'll pop a bottle of champagne. It's my 1,000th hat. Maybe I'll tell the person. I don't know if I'm aware of it.
I'm your host, Moyo, reporting with Shy Chat TV.